I'm the hottest round. I told y'all mother, y'all can't stop me now. Listen to me now. I'm lasting 20 rounds. And if you want me, then come on get me now.
Hey everyone, it's me, Psychedelic Babe, and welcome back to my channel. Now, as you all know, the side chick is the 16-gallon Innovative Marine, and it's a fantastic tank, and I've had it up and running now for 11 months. Now, 2 weeks ago, I noticed that she's suffering really badly from algae. Now, this algae was growing everywhere. It was on the glass, it was all over the rocks, it was covering all my corals. It was literally everywhere, and it was really starting to irritate me. And it was irritating me because it was just getting worse and worse by the day. Now, straight away, my immediate reaction was, why is this happening, and what can I do to get this situation under control? Now, there are many methods used in and around YouTube and on the internet, and some of them, to say the least, are very interesting. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to do a little experiment of my own. So sit back, relax, and let's see which method I use to successfully control the aquarium algae growth in the side chick. Algae and plants are just like us humans. They need food, they need nutrients, and they need a good environment to grow and survive. Algae makes its own energy off the food, off the light that they are offered. But they also need water, correct temperatures, and nutrients in order to grow and thrive. Now, with that in mind, you'd automatically think that if we cut all the above out, the algae will just die and disappear. Well, you're nearly right, but this is where it gets tricky. Now, you can't just stop all of the above and not expect a disaster. So first off, you need to determine where and why you got the algae issue. And you need to do this before you do anything about it. Now, I was in a live stream the other day, and Rico said, you wouldn't buy your child cough medicine if they were suffering from an earache. And this is exactly the same reasoning that we need to have with our tanks. Because in order to cure an issue, you have to find out why the issue is happening in the first place. So first, we look at our phosphates and our nitrates. These are the two main things that algae thrive on in our tanks. Whether it be too much feeding or too much direct light or using the wrong water. These readings are going to give you a better indication of what it is that's going wrong. Maybe your tank's overstocked, maybe they're overfed, or maybe they're not getting regular water changes. But one of these things is definitely contributing towards the algae growth. So once you've figured out which one of these that it is, then you can start doing something about it. Now, I'm really lucky because I already know that the side chick crashed because I sold my clownfish. By selling my clownfish, I disrupted the whole cycle of the tank. So before I was going to tackle the issue of the algae in my tank, I knew I had to replace these fish. Now, I didn't want to get expensive fish because after all, this is an experiment, and the last thing I wanted it to be was an expensive one. So I've gone to my LFS and I purchased 2 black mollies. So they got settled into the tank, and now it's time to combat this dreaded algae. Now, this method that I've used in the side chick was recommended to me by Nick Chan over at Aquarium Cabinet Solutions. And before I reveal all, I have to give all this credit on this video to him, because I was literally at the point where I thought I was losing the battle, and I was so close to closing the side chick down. So I owe Nick a super huge thank you. So where did I start? Well, first off, I started with a complete 3-day blackout. Now, some articles say to leave the tank in complete darkness by covering it with a towel or by blacking out the sides. I didn't do this. I did 3-day blackout, but I left the room in normal daylight, so I knew that I could see the tank and I could keep a close eye on my fish and on my corals. Now, whilst I was doing the blackout, because the side chick's only a 16-gallon tank, I knew I had to keep a close eye on my pH. So I did this by testing these daily and made sure that they didn't drop too low. Also, when I did the blackout, I have to note that I left everything running in the tank except for the light. So I kept my protein skimmer on, and I kept all the pumps on, everything except for the light. And I also didn't feed the tank at all for any of these 3 days. Now, this was hard to do, but once the 3 days was up, I put the tank on under blues only, and I noticed that not all of the algae had gone in the tank. Now, the hair algae that was on the spin stream, that had completely disappeared. It was just the algae on the rocks that was still present. So on day 4, I slowly acclimated the tank back to having the lights on. Because they've been in darkness for 3 to 4 days, I didn't want to shock them. So I had the blues on for an hour, and then the whites for 3 hours, and then the blues for an hour, and then I turned them off. And I also didn't feed the tank at all on day 4. Now, day 5 arrived, and again, I put the blue lights on. Straight away, I noticed there was a huge difference in the tank. The glass and the rocks were just really looking a whole lot better. And this is day 5, and my mollies were dancing like crazy in the tank. So I thought, yeah, let's give them a little treat, and let's give them a little bit of food. Now, they haven't had food for a few days, and I didn't know if this was also contributing towards the algae. So I gave them a third of what I'd normally give them, just so that they can start producing more waste in the tank. And also today I kept the lights on for an hour longer. So I noticed my Kenya trees were sulking really badly. So when they had the extra hour of light, they did start perking up slightly. So I knew that they weren't going to die on me, which was a good thing. And now on day 6, I turned the blues on, and the tank looks really, really clean. The algae was a lot less visible, and the glass at the side chick was absolutely crystal clear, as was the back of the tank. Now, you may remember from my previous videos, I'll leave the links in the description box below, but this algae was everywhere. So if you look at the tank now to what it was then, you'll notice there is a huge, huge difference. Now, I've kept the same light routine, off for 1 hour blues, 4 hour whites. There's 1 day left for the experiment to work, and I am holding my breath, because when I fed the tank and I turned the lights off the night, I was very, very sceptical about what was going to happen tomorrow. But when I woke up on day 7 and I decided to do a 20% water change, I put the blues on while I was getting everything ready, and when the whites come on, I did my water change. Now, when I did this water change, all I did was take the water out of the back filter chamber and replaced it, and changed all the filter floss. I removed the coral from the front that had bubble algae all over it, and I removed the dead Duncan. I turned the lights back on, and what a huge, huge difference. I swear to God, the algae was finally nearly completely gone, and I knew now that I've actually got it under control. And the best bit about it was I didn't have to put any effort into this whatsoever. My corals and my fish didn't suffer at all, and most importantly, I didn't have to put any chemicals or get my hands wet at all. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work for everyone, so before you run off, turn your lights off or do anything, I suggest that you test your waters first. Find out what caused your algae outbreak in the first place, and then combat the algae, and then keep up with what you were doing, and you'll keep on getting the results that you're aiming for. Because if you don't find out the source of this issue, you're not going to cure it, and no matter what you do to try and get rid of it, trust me, it's just going to keep coming back more and more. So to prevent this happening again in the side chick, I definitely won't be making any sudden changes to the tank. I won't be messing about with the cycle, I won't be overfeeding the tank, and I won't be forgetting to become complacent either. It is so easy to become complacent. And one of the easiest things to do, which everybody hates doing, is a weekly water change. Definitely do not scrimp on these water changes, because they are vital. I'm going to keep my lights on a 6 hour cycle, and hopefully the side chick is going to remain looking good for the foreseeable future. So there you have it. There was my week's hair algae experiment. It went remarkably well, and honestly, all the thanks, all the credit and everything just goes to Nick Chan. Thank you so much, Nick. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, if anybody's learned from this video, then yeah, let me know in the comment section below. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you again to Nick Chan for making the side chick beautiful once again. If you've enjoyed this video, then hit that thumbs up, and if you've got any questions, any comments whatsoever, then please do leave them in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and make sure you hit that shiny notification bell. Until next time, have a great evening. I love you all. Bye.